So I got this Pinarello Dogma frame from a guy in Austria and he wanted me to turn it into a raw carbon beast. And now, just to be clear, none of this was my idea or decision, I'm just doing the work I was asked to do. The first step, as always, is stripping the frame and removing the original paint job. It sounds easy, right? But trust me, it's not. The whole process took more than 2 weeks, and yeah, I know it might look easy in the video, but there are so many small steps and details I'm not showing here. The stripping alone took me round about 3.5 hours, running a 15 kilowatt beast of an air compressor just to feed my media blasting cabinet with tons of air. And yeah, not only the frame, also the fork has to be stripped. Now that I'm starting completely from scratch, I have to reapply all the filler and primer, and trust me, that took literally days. It's a cycle of priming, sanding, repriming and sanding again, over and over in several steps. And before I can apply the 2K carbon primer, I also have to degrease all the parts, making sure the surface is completely clean and ready. I'm only showing one of these steps here in the video, because honestly, watching me doing the same thing 100 times would be super boring. And yes, I also have to do all the decals by hand, and that means sitting in front of my laptop arranging letter after letter to create the Pinarello decals as well as the UCI labels. For the outer areas I'm using a rotary sander to keep things smooth and even, but all the inner sections, like the insides of the fork legs, that's done completely by hand. It's slow, repetitive work, but that's what it takes to get a perfect surface before the next stage. Most of the hard work is done, and now I have to bring in my 20-year-old sign maker to cut the stencils for the colored areas into masking foil. Applying them can be tricky because the frame like this has a lot of curves and the foil needs to be carefully adjusted and stretched in some areas to get a perfect fit. I decided to go with spray cans. They are just so much faster and the frame already had primer in these areas. But to block out the carbon structure for that special Hypershift finish, I laid down 2 coats of black 1K spray can primer. And that's it, the special Hypershift powder. I'll link it in the video description in case you want to try it out yourself. My mix is 3 parts of rubbing alcohol, 1 part of the powder and 2 parts of an acrylic intercoat. It really doesn't matter which intercoat you are using, whether it's conventional or water-based, as long as it dissolves in alcohol, which both will do. I'll also link a smaller bottle of intercoat for the mixture in the video description underneath the video. And now it's the same process again for the stencils I need for the logos on the frame. I cut them out of masking film and spray them with real color directly on the frame. It's water based and super thin, so I can avoid any gap between the decal and the clear coat. It's also really durable and will last much longer than a cheap vinyl decal, which isn't compatible with any type of clear coat. paint I'm using for the decals is 1K acrylic water-based, and the reason why I'm using water-based paints are the thin layers. I need only 1 or 2 layers for full coverage, even on a dark surface like the carbon. And these layers are super thin, so I have only a minor gap between the masking foil and the decals themselves, and that is the reason why I'm a huge fan of water-based paints. These sheets I'm using are water transfers I buy in bulk from the Big A, and you can find the link in the video description as well. I print on them with an old HP printer, the kind you can pick up for cheap. The only tricky part is, after printing I cut a contour with my sign maker, so I don't have to fiddle around with scissors. Once that's done, they just need to be soaked in warm water for a minute or two, and then you can slide them right onto the bike frame. This sheet isn't empty. I actually printed on it using white toner. It's the same water transfer paper I used before, and I'll need to soak it in water as well before I can slide the print on the frame. And that's the last time for this project in the paint booth. I'm applying 2 layers of 2K high solid clear coat with about 20 minutes in between each one. I'm using my beloved Iwata LPH 80 spray guns. They are literally the best you can find on the market. But I'm not done yet. The last step in this painting game is a sanding and polishing session to make the frame smooth like butter. I sand down all the tubes with 2000 grit wet sanding paper to flatten even the tiniest edge of the decals and to bring out a nice shine in the clear coat. For polishing I'm using an 80mm yellow sponge with buffing cream. This part takes some time, and by some I mean 1 or 2 hours before I can finally call this project done. And the definitely last step is the beauty shots of the finished frame in the studio. And this is my favorite part of every project, spending some time with my Ridgeback Sasha, doing what I studied as a designer and photographer, just capturing some great shots. Are you ready?